So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dalles Chamber of Community Affairs. Today, our guest is Emily Reed. She is with CGTA, or Columbia Gorge Tourism Alliance. We like CGTA, it gets out there quicker. This is a bi-state organization for the region of the Gorge, and it is an organization that is helping all of our different tourism efforts. Also has independent programs that it is coordinating and doing with the Gorge region of tourism. So Emily is our guest, and I will let her speak in a moment. But until then, I'm going to go around the room just like we always do, so that Emily knows who's here and what organization you represent. And again, if you have things going on, please use the chat for all of those events. Thank you. Philip, you are so on the ball. I love it. He's already got it in there before I say anything. So this is a great spot to put those informations because we are all about our community. Also, when it comes to Emily, do you want questions during or after?
During is great.
Okay,
I
great.
do have a rapid fire, but there's also places to
Okay.
do polls and things like that.
So as usual, when that happens, I'll be watching the chat and for any hands raised or bodies jumping up and down so that Emily doesn't have to watch that while she's doing her, because whenever you do a share screen, it makes it a little interesting to see the crowd. So I'll be watching for that. If for some reason I'm not seeing you, just private message me and say, I'm here. And then we will get that addressed. And so Emily will have a chance to answer or hear the comment. So with that, I'm going to start with my rock star on my left, David Peters.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Peters, Columbia Cascade Housing, the Columbia Housing Authority. We have down payment funds still available for first generation home buyers and for veterans. So please send anybody that you think might be interested at all, send them our way. And we have submitted a subdivision plan for a community land trust model of 14 homes in Carson. And we have selected an architect to work in the Dalles for about 4 units, maybe 6 units here in the Dalles. So finally moving forward.
Awesome. Mr. Dan Spots.
Thank you, Lisa. Dan Spots, Economic Development Officer with the City of the Dalles. Last week, we had the fascinating news of the Basalt Commons development to take place on the site of the current, the old Griffith Motors near Ace Hardware on the eastern side of town. That is going to be a tremendous boost to the Dalles, 108 affordable units of housing going in there. And then I've been promoting the incentives programs, incentives for upper story residential, compensation for STCs for downtown business owners, other incentives to develop commercial and residential properties downtown. Thank you.
Great. Philip Mosher.
Good morning, Philip Mosher, Sotheby's Real Estate and the Dalles Arts Center. I put a couple things in the chat. Tonight, I'm really excited about the special exhibit opening in the Hugh Glenn House on Union and 9th Street. It's an artist, nature painter artist, Krista Grimm. She's based in Manzanita, but has done a lot of painting in our region here. We're showing, I think, as many as 35 of her fantastic original paintings in this beautiful historic original Queen Anne Victorian home. And then I've mentioned this before, the Dalles Arts Center is putting on the Diamonds and Denim Dance Party on Saturday, September 16th, 5 to 9. Would love to see you all there, and I put in the link for tickets there, so get your tickets rather sooner than later. Thanks, that's it for me.
Perfect, thank you, Philip. Samantha.
Good morning. Samantha, I'm based in Hood River, but my business is Kaizen Consulting, and small businesses owners hire me to help support them. And specifically, my passion is curating the customer experience. So training staff to be amazing. So I have tools. I have created a product, a deck, and a video training program so that we can really help support those frontline customer service people to deliver consistently amazing customer experiences. So, you know, the owners and people can just have a great day and go out and go to the arts center, go do some other things and not be tied to the business all the time. That's my passion.
And if you haven't done a workshop, you need to. Doesn't matter if you're frontline or not. Reminds you what the customer goes through and what we need to do. So it's awesome. Anyway,
Thank you.
Sue Davis.
Good morning. I'm with the Columbia Gorge Community College. I am in their foundation. I'm the director of their foundation and college advancement. So external relations primarily. So the thing I would mention today is that on September 9th, we have our major event-based fundraising golf tournament for our foundation for scholarships for students. And if you are, our golf teams are all sold out, which is super exciting for us. But if you're interested in buying a raffle ticket, either for our general raffle or our wine raffle, you could message myself or Corliss.
Perfect. Thank you. Miss Corliss Marsh.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Emily. This is Corliss Marsh, and I'm with Habitat for Humanity and the Senior Center and the library. And the library is having a big book sale this weekend from 9 to noon up in the upper parking lot. And it's by the bag, so you just come in, fill the bag. And the prices
Not kidding when
decrease.
she says that too.
The prices decrease as the time goes along. So starts at $3 a bag and it goes down to $1 a bag at 11 o'clock.
Perfect. Thank you, Corliss. Kate Willis.
I had the pleasure of seeing Corliss at the Shanico days. That was awesome to see you and your granddaughter and your family, Corliss. Kate Willis, I'm with South Wasco Alliance, and we cover from Dufur down to the Southern County line. We have we're wrapping up our community health assessment, and we wrapped up some economic needs assessments. So all of that is coming in the fall, and we'll have some hyper local information about South Wasco. And we're also hosting a tour on October 12th for Travel Oregon, Visit Central Oregon, some elected officials, and some of the foundations that support our community and economic development in the area.
Great. Thank you, Kate. All right, with that, Emily, I'm going to let you take over from here. Like I said, I will help watch for questions. And Emily is our executive. What is your official title, ma'am? It changes a little bit.
It's network director. It's network director. But yeah,
So it's
yes.
the coordinator of all.
Yeah, it's really coordination. The reason that I sometimes am called director is so that folks answer my calls.
There you go. I like that. I know
It's very
how that
flat structure.
All right, Emily, I'm going to let you take it over and I will watch the screen for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start with a poll. And what I would love, I don't know if you're able to go to slido.com and put in this code, because there's a couple of fun things that we can do along the way if you're able to do that. So the code is GovAF, Gov Affairs. And I just want you to start with one word to describe tourism in the Gorge. So, Kate, are you just on the phone? I'm hoping that you're able to.
I am. I'm just on the phone for reliability.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice. Okay, this is great. So as you can see, as people put in their words, it will come up on the slide. Okay, great. Great. So, and then I'd like you to add one more word of what's one word to describe a negative word to describe tourism in the Gorge. And one more to describe another positive. So the first word was just, so it's okay if you already did a positive or a negative, but just one more positive.
This is great, by the way. So good to hear. Lisa and I are loving this feedback. Okay. So, and as you know, with the word clouds, words that are used more than once or twice get bigger, and the ones that are used fewer times get smaller. So the reason that I wanted to ask you this, it's really interesting. So, and this seems to have a bit of a Hood River bent, the Dalles bent. If you were in Hood River, you would see things about crowding and parking, and especially in the waterfall corridor, you'll hear some of that as well. So really, the reason that I'm saying this is because the goal of the CGTA, of the Columbia Gorge Tourism Alliance, is to really optimize the positive impacts of the visitor economy and enhance, downplay the negatives, really address the negatives, and enhance the communities. So it's tourism for good is one of the ways that we talk about it. And so and it's by state, as Lisa was saying, we are used as a model internationally because we are a network made up of all of the tourism organizations as well as non-tourism organizations in the gorge. So anyone who has any interest in sustainable tourism, and by sustainable tourism, I mean using the tourism economy for good that uses it in a way to enhance our communities. So we're used as a model internationally. And because of, it's mostly because of the structure. So in 2016, Travel Oregon came in and created, had a series of a year of conversations, pulled together a lot of different organizations, including many who you don't usually think of as tourism, and they don't identify as tourism. So conservation folks, tribes, a lot of the land agencies, ODOT, MCED, just a number of folks that are together, and others. This is just an example of folks that fit on the page. So, and of course, the chambers were a part of that. In fact, much more than I was. I came in later. I was at a couple of them out of interest, but I was not involved at that point. So Lisa actually was there on the ground for the development of this. And so it is a flat structure. It's a network, and we all work together. And I wanted to just kind of walk you through why. Why are these folks gathering? Why do these, why pull together? And it has to do with, like, as I said, sustainable tourism. So I wanted to give you some examples internationally just to show what we're talking about. So first of all, in 1950, we had 25 million visitors a year. By 2017, that number had jumped up to 1.3 billion. And by the latest, there's estimates of 1.7 billion by 2030. So pre-COVID, for example, Yosemite had 4 million visitors, and you had 3-hour lines to get into the park. You had Boracay, which is a 4-mile square island. The visitors jumped from in the thousands to 2 million by 2017, which meant that the waters became cesspools. They just weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for those numbers, and unmonitored snorkeling destroyed 70 to 90% of their coral cover. Angkor Wat had 2.5 million visitors, and what happened there is that the growth around Angkor Wat grew so much that it created a shortage of water in the ground because of all the development, and it's actually undermining the structure of the monument itself. So what we've seen internationally is just a huge amount of tension between visitors and tourists. And again, we saw this in the coast during the pandemic. There are parts of Oregon that are really having this tension. And what it's done is drive up the cost of housing for locals. As you all know, the housing is an issue. Gift shops eventually start replacing like butchers. So the things that the communities love start to become, tourist areas. And it really starts to take away the uniqueness of the thing that the people have come to visit in the first place. So for example, experts believe that in Venice by 2030, there will be no more locals able to live in Venice. And that's only in 7 years. So this is the worst case scenario. What does this have to do with the gorge? Well, this is charts for the last 27 years. And again, this is pre-pandemic. So we don't know how the pandemic will affect this or how things come back, but we assume that kind of there's a growth, like we're gorgeous. People love us. And we are getting the visitors. So there's a huge increase. So for example, in Multnomah Falls, we have 3 million visitors a year, 8,000 a day in the summer. So we are seeing, real crowding and safety issues. So for example, this on the old highway, if somebody gets hurt, they're not able to get an ambulance through on a busy day, which is why you saw some of the permitting systems that came in the last couple of years. So that's really the hotspot in the gorge. And so a lot of what we do is about addressing this before it gets too bad. So, but what's interesting about tourism is that it's like no other industry, and that it neither sells nor produces. It doesn't make anything. It doesn't own what it has. It's really about tourism businesses helping visitors facilitate that experience. And so no one organization or one person is in control. And that's why we need to come together as a group. So this is all kind of the background for what we're doing. And that one last little bit is that there is a natural progression if you don't address it, that people come for the culture and the beauty of the area. And then if it's not guided, it goes into just coming for the physical place, like just relaxing on a beach, for example, is the next phase. And then, oh, there's people here, let's do a lot of development. So Las Vegas is the perfect place for development because you're not going to the middle of the desert otherwise. But in a place like this, a lot of development can actually start destroying the thing that people started coming here for. So these are some of the things that we try to pay attention to. Now, what we can do and what we do is we are a network and we get together regularly. Mostly in like every November, we come together and we look at these key areas that were developed at the beginning. So we have transportation, culinary and ag, culture, outdoor rec. So we look at these issues, these areas, and we say, what is happening? What are the issues we want to solve? And what are some of the interesting things that we can do together? What are some of the projects that we can do? We have a 15-year vision that creates the map for the projects that we do. So we all get together and we say, okay, what can move us along that path of our vision? So in November, we get together and sit in a room and break out into groups and come up with ideas. Those ideas, there are many more than this, but these are just some examples. They sit underneath each of the areas. And then through the year, we come together and we find grants, work together, pool resources, and create projects that do this. So today I would like to talk to you about a couple of the projects that we do. But first of all, just that convening is really important. And I know we have a lot of this in the Gorge. There's a lot of different ways that we get together. Some of the ways that we do this with our network is we have a summit every year. This year it was in the Dalles, and we basically get together and we just highlight all the wins and all of the latest trends and just share what's going on. And you're all welcome to that. It's actually lots of folks beyond the core groups come to that. We also have guides that get together. They created a special website for themselves as a way to coordinate. So if somebody has a little bit of room in their space, they can, anyway, trading and being able to coordinate. We also got the Gorge Culture, the museums and the art centers together and created a website that is for visitors, as well as a museums pass. So I don't know if you know about this, but there's 10 museums. You get the pass, you get to go to all of them. It's a passport. It's fabulous. We also were able to have a big art survey this year. So we'll be getting the results of that back, and that was also regional. We also, during the pandemic, were able to get together and get some messaging out for the bi-state rec folks, and just make sure that we were all on the same page with our messaging to visitors. Our chambers all work together. Chambers, visitor centers, DMOs, and these are the main, this is the core. This is these are the folks that are very much the visitor facing. So they're very much at the base of everything that we do. And all of the projects that we create are really for they're the ones that execute and spread the word out to. So we're building tools for the frontline chambers who are really the visitors interaction. So this was one of the first kickoffs that we did, was get all of the folks together for dispersal, so that each of the chambers in the area really know the other areas as well. So we had a bus that we went around the gorge, and they were able to share with each other. So when somebody comes to a visitor center in Stevenson and they're on their way, they know more about the Dalles and are able to say, yes, go check in there, but here are some things that you can look for, and go talk to Lisa. So that's kind of the idea of how this particular program works, but they're involved in all of our programs. So the Ready, Set, Gorge is another big dispersal. So we really try to get folks before they go out onto a lot of folks don't know how to be in the woods. And so Ready, Set, Gorge is really about telling people what's open and closed on the trails, getting them basic information so that they don't wear flip-flops or set our woods on fire. But also, one of the big things that we do is try to push people east. That's a huge strategy of almost everything we do, is pushing people to the east and getting folks out of the crowd, and more folks into the Dalles and Goldendale and what have you. So further east. Okay, so couple of projects. The next thing that is really important. Oops. Oh. Okay, is food. So here's my question for food. Is this on here? I can't, my thing is covering it.
Yeah, it's up. We see it.
Is it? So you can take the quiz?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the quiz. And the question is, can you see the question of how much food, the question, Dave, how much food, no, you
We can only see quiz. We can't see the question.
All right. So the question is, this isn't working. The question is, what percentage of food do we import into the gorge?
Yeah, it's showing us, the question it's asking us is, what is our name?
Oh.
With this QR code.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Ignore this, but I'm not going to click because it'll give it away. So just tell me, what percentage of food, yes, is, so that's exactly, so what percentage? Tell me, give me a percentage of what percentage of food do we import into the gorge?
90%.
90? Any other guesses? 94, 90, 65?
Mine was 94.
Okay. Any others? Okay. So, oh, here it is. Here's the question. 2953. Can you see this one? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go faster.
Yes.
We've already asked you. Okay. So the answer is no, 98%.
Wow.
That's scary.
98% of our food. So we only grow 2%. So, you know, our huge crops are going out, obviously, like our cherries and our wheat. But in terms of what we personally eat in the gorge, 98% of it is shipped in. So when we're talking about the earthquake, this is one of the reasons why we want to build up more of our farmers and local growers, that and the infrastructure of our food system is so that oh, good. Okay. Is so that we have the food when we need it. So locally. So one of the things that we try to do is support our local food system, which also brings in a lot more. So if you just start purchasing 20% more local than you do other, then that will bring in 9.6 million extra dollars into the gorge. So, and it's also fresher and tastier and what have you. So this is one of the things that we support with our project, which in the main one is the East Gorge Food Trail. So East Gorge Food Trail not only, and we also have a West Gorge Food Trail, and we have another food trail in the gorge that really started it all through the state, is the Fruit Loop. But the East Gorge Food Trail works in a special way because it really highlights our local businesses. It supports our local food system, and it pulls visitors over to the east. So it really gives all of these amazing reasons to come visit in Mosier and the Dalles and Dufur, and really highlights that. So the food trails are one of those things that we're particularly excited about, and we support through social media. We have websites, rack cards that we give to folks so that they know to look for it, and also just a number of things for the partners themselves, especially in the pandemic. Lots of business support, workshops, and what have you. So, okay. The next thing we do is support the transit. So we're trying to get our visitors out of their cars, and especially to the busy places. So, but also our transit system, this was one of the things on the 15-year vision, was simply, hey, let's have a transit system. And that was 6 or 7 years ago. And within that time, the 4 different providers in our area have been able to create fixed routes that run fairly regularly. They've been able to add more services, connect to each other, and there's actually going to be another, and they're just getting better and better in each time. So these folks have been meeting, creating this system, and improving it. And there's even more each year. So we have the Gorge Pass, which is a pass that allows you to hop on and hop off any of them at any time. We've just changed it so it's no longer on a calendar year. So any year, any time that you purchase, you get the full year. That's pretty exciting. And so reasons that you could use it here is that it goes to the airport. And guess how many times a day the bus goes into Portland? 2. How many? Any other guesses? Have we? I know you're like, okay. Actually, it's 10 times a day during the summer, 7 in the winter. So it is
that direct from the Dalles to over Hood River to the port to the airport?
There is a transfer in Hood River, but there's 4 times a day into Hood River. And if you want to go to the airport, you can actually park at the Hood River Park and Ride, which is safe and lit and free. And you can leave your car there for up to 3 weeks. And you can transfer. There's a transfer at the station and Gateway, but it's quicker, easier, cheaper than parking in long distance and taking their long-term economy and taking their shuttle. So it's just, I just wanted to let folks know that's one of the best things for the transit system, because yeah, your car is safe and you don't have to pay all that money every day.
And is that CAT, or how do we find that?
Yeah, that's CAT. So go to Gorge Pass and there's videos on it and all sorts of, there's a whole map of all of the schedules. So these are the things that we're building, really giving reasons for, and especially for folks coming out here, getting them out of their cars. We also, again, support that with Rack Card and social media and what have you. So, and also, through the chambers. So it's really, again, I just want to emphasize, this is not an organization doing this. This is all of our organizations working together to do this. Okay. One more quiz. Are you able to do this one? So how many of these fit you? And you can hit more than one. So yeah, do you yourself have or do you know somebody with a disability? Have you ever broken a bone? This is, by the way, my first time using this is in the Zoom.
It works really well. I love using it because it's of the interactive part of it. And then the word things that
word cloud is amazing.
Yeah, the word clouds and
yeah.
It's really, really neat. And the more, and obviously the more entries you have, the more it becomes like this moving, living thing, which is super interesting.
Okay, so everyone had a chance, because I'm going to reveal our answers. Okay, look at that. Most people know somebody with a disability. we have a growing older population, as you know, with the baby boomers, but we also have experience with trying to get a baby stroller in. You've had like broken bones. So the thing about disabilities is that basically the way that you think about it is that you're pre-disabled. Everyone will have a disability at some point or experiencing. So that really leads us to our last project, which is called it's about accessibility and really building up the information there. It started with well, that's not true. It started with the food anyway, we did some stuff on the trails. I'm going to go past this really quick because it's just, oh, we have great. Yeah. So if you go to Accessible Gorge, you can see the video. We created a guide for the waterfall corridors, but it really started at the East Gorge Food Trail several years ago, where we did these accessibility audits, where each of the businesses was able to experience their business in a wheelchair. So you can see that video on the website as well. And really what it's led to is this effort that we're still in the middle of, where we are reaching out to businesses and gathering just basic information. So how tall are their tables? What kind of chairs do they have? There is no right or wrong. We're simply gathering the information so that folks with disabilities can know before they go, and they can plan their trip accordingly. Everyone's disability comes with a different flavor. And so really it's just about, what they know their disability, so they can have them information. And so they can plan their trip. So one of the things about accessible travel is that it is a $17 billion industry. And those numbers, I have other numbers as well. I think they can go even higher. So I think that's a conservative. And that's only for the folks with disabilities. They also typically come with at least one caregiver when they travel, and oftentimes two. So it's a huge industry for travel, and really just a great resource to tap into from a business point of view. But it's also helps our local folks, our local disabled folks. So it's really just a information source that also, again, has rack card, highlights the businesses that have signed up to be measured, and is just a really great, exciting development that we're excited to talk to. And actually, I would love to talk with you, Samantha, about some of the things that I've learned, some really quick and easy things for when folks walk in who can't hear or what have you. There's like 3 easy sign language things you can do before you start writing, or just really like the 3 easy things to do if someone's blind, which is, you just say, hi, you introduce yourself with your voice. So really easy things for frontline staff that we've been able to gather and would love to share. And so, yeah, it's just a really wonderful development that we're excited about. Okay. And again, this is all, like, for example, in the Dalles, we haven't really hit the ground. There's still a lot of work to do with the Dalles, but again, this is working with Lisa to get to reach out to those businesses and get folks on. So that's going to be happening in the fall. It's a work in progress, but you can see.
Yeah, well, Kristen has started, and we've got a list that she's already gone. That was her measuring one of the locations here.
This is her.
Kristen's a rare student, just in case you guys have not met her. She's working for the entire region of Oregon on the tourism side, but she gets to translate some of that into these projects. So she has been already interviewing a list of businesses that I gave her, measuring those tables, measuring the entries, and looking at the bathrooms even, and that piece of it. So she's already started, and then she'll be starting back up in September when the rares come back from their summer break, and you'll be seeing more of her in some of our businesses.
Yes. So, and she's fantastic. She works with Nicole on Nicole they kind of divided and conquer. So Nicole works with us, and we all work together, but Nicole did the Washington side. Okay. So that's really the summary. Just if there's anything for taking away, it's that we can't, no one organization can do this together. Like, in order to really address and make the region what we would like it to be, we all need to work, meet together regularly, talk about what we want, and kind of work together, and not doubling up efforts, but being on the same page and rolling that out. And I don't know, actually, Lisa, if you want to talk about there's some projects coming up, for example, Taste of the Gorge. It's still in development, but that's another example as well.
It's ongoing. We're always trying to figure out what is the next thing. As you can imagine from hearing the numbers from Emily, that my biggest goal is to move that crowd that's down there to us. We are not seeing the numbers that are west of us are seeing. So we're trying to find ways. That's why the East Gorge Food Trail exists. We're doing the Taste of the Gorge. That will be something to create an experience and exposure for our restaurants along the way, the entire gorge, both by state. So in hopes that people would follow that. People like trails. They want to follow a trail. So food trail, wine trail, beer trail. So we're always trying to improve those and get those down here. So I'm excited about the accessibility aspect, just so our businesses can be that customer service for that demographic, so that they have the experience that we all have, and sometimes we take for granted. So that is happening. And like Emily said, we are meeting on a regular basis. Sometimes she's got more meetings than I can attend. So it's just, there is a lot going on. And so there's that. So I've got staff that help me with that. But there again, our biggest goal, I think a lot of this started, and correct me if I'm wrong, Em, is that we wanted to disperse the tourist for a couple of reasons. One, from us, it's an economic impact. We need that tourist to come and support our businesses in our community. But two, we don't want to overuse or abuse the property where all of these large groups are going. And so a lot of this came out of those conversations. How do we accomplish both of those? And that's what CGTA has done to help create those programs. We don't always have the bandwidth at each of us DMOs to create an entire program that really entices people from Dale to all the way here. So that's what that has helped us do. And some of us are still catching up, or some of us are like, okay, how can we get more businesses to do those things so we can be a part of that? So it's a continual, as I said, for my tourism, evolving. But looks like Samantha has a question. We'll go right to her.
I do have a question. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa, for putting the accessible gorge in the chat as well. And the gorge pass is great too. I have a question about the accessible gorge website and connecting people with that. I went on and I looked by category, there's coffee shops, eatery. It's really, really amazing. My mom is in a wheelchair fairly recently, in the last 2 years, and it's definitely has opened my eyes in a whole brand new way of just even around town and getting off sidewalks and whatnot. If there are some businesses that I frequent that I know are accessible, how do I connect them? What do I need to do to say, hey, you guys need to get on this map? Who do I connect them with?
Yeah, so you can reach, there should be a email at the bottom. So that's the easiest way. If accessible gorge email. Locally in the Dalles, what we would do is once we get that, we would connect them directly with Kristen, and she would come out and measure that right up. So yeah.
Okay, I can do that. It's your name and Nicole's name are on the bottom on the contact us. So either one, either.
Yes.
All right.
And we would directly put you with Kristen.
Thanks.
And if you forget, you have mine memorized, so just send me one and I'll pass it on. That work?
Yes.
Okay. Emily, do you want to touch a little bit about the taste and just let them know kind of what that is that we're
So the Taste of the Gorge, how did that come out? It was one of the projects that came out of one of the November meetings, which, by the way, you're all welcome to join us. Everything is open, so if you have any interest, it's all open. So that came out. It was an idea of really highlighting local food and doing it on a regional level, so that we all work together to pull visitors out on the shoulder seasons. So this is about supporting our restaurants when they are not seeing the crowds of the summer. And which is what they're wanting as well. They're like, do not pull people out in the middle of the summer. So the idea, and it's again developing as Lisa said, but we've been meeting probably once a month for several months, like 4 months or so. And right now the idea is to have a passport on your phone that allows you to get prizes for visiting a number of different places. And then it counts, and then you go into there's like prizes for winning, but I'm trying to think of what else. And but the nice thing about this is that really it's being developed as a whole. So as the group has really formed it, there's not anyone's going, okay, that's what we're going to do. And so it's really developed, and I'm trying to think of what else is relevant. Just the timing and just the combination. I mean, the chambers really know what they're doing. And so it's just been this fabulous honing in on exactly what's going to work the best. And one of the things that the food trail I didn't mention is the food trail actually, in order to be on the trail, you have to have sourced at least 25% local. So any of the wines or breweries or farmers markets, they're all on the trail, and so all of those will be highlighted as well. And yes, okay, I will find the date. I know the date. So the date and the place. So we're meeting at Gorgeous Beers in Cascade Locks, and it is on November 16th, I believe. Let me find it. The other thing you could do is sign up to our newsletter, and then we'll can put, basically the newsletter just shares all what everybody's doing out in the world. I believe it's on the 16th. Yes, November 16th at Gorgeous Beers from 1 to 4.
You put a link for the newsletter in the chat box.
Yes, I will.
And the figure of 98% imported food is it's believable, but it's also incredibly scary.
It is.
Think of Cascadia. We are going to be shut off if we you probably mentioned it, I missed it, but outreach with or coordination with Gorge Grown Food Network in terms of
yes,
all of the activities, the farmers markets, all of that.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, and I should say, like, I didn't mention this with Gorge Pass, but that's another thing that we're always doing with Gorge Pass. We're always pushing folks to the local food places and out east. Like, we're using that tool as well for dispersion. So we're really, it's interesting. It started out with these very clear areas, but every project we do, we really try to cross our messages so that it really builds all of the things that we're trying to get folks to do. So for example, if you wanted to purchase your Gorge Pass, you would do so in the Dalles at the chamber, as well as link, of course.
Really appreciate the approach being taken here. You know, you remember with the days when Multnomah Falls was the end of the gorge, and people thought, oh, well, I've seen the gorge. And it's not the Dalles either. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's Arlington. You know, the geography, the geology of the place really starts there. And so, hey, the Dalles is the center of the gorge.
It's the heart of gorge. I should say I'm from the Dalles, by the way. Grew up in the Dalles.
So what can
we don't usually promote, we don't usually talk all the way, all the way to Arlington, but I will see what we can do there.
So what can the city of the Dalles do to support this effort? To you and Lisa, both of you.
You are the effort. Lisa is the effort. This is what I'm saying. Like, we're not
I
an
know,
organization
very
separate.
definitely. And Lisa is a fantastic, she is doing it all right now, but from an economic perspective, for my role with the city are the things that the city government can be doing, things of that nature that I can pass along. Planning efforts.
Yeah, I think
Don't have to answer right now. Give it some
Yeah,
thought, because
I will.
it's serious. We're going to be reviewing the strategic plan for urban renewal coming over the next 3 to 4 months. You know, we are dealing with brownfield recovery, going into repurposing old buildings for upper story residential. There are a lot of strategic intersections here. The regional airport, you know, it would be wonderful to return a commuter flight there someday. There's discussion of returning the Pioneer Line, Amtrak on the Oregon side. That's coming out of some lawmakers in Portland, believe it or not. I sat in on a call about 6 months ago about that. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere or not. It hasn't been here for 20 years, but
Yeah.
Senator Wyden was a champion, and I believe it's still a champion of trying to return that to the Oregon side.
That would be
So
brilliant.
things of that nature.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I hesitate because a lot of what we're doing is really trying to support what's already happening, right? So we're very much in, looking at, so for example, obviously housing is a huge factor for frontline staff and for our communities. And we really try to find ways to help, but it's in terms of the tools that we're using, obviously most of that heavy lifting is going to be done with other organizations and with the different governmental organizations. So, but we are looking, like, we're always, trying to see what can we do with that in that role. And so, yeah, so we're listening a lot as opposed to, asking what you could do. I think, just supporting, already doing what's going to really work is supporting transit. And yeah, just we'll think better. I will have a better answer on that.
Could I chime in just for 1 second on this? This is Kate Willis from South Wasco Alliance. Dan,
Please.
I think it's a great question. And since we all live in a system, we're doing a lot of work with social determinants of health, which are all those things. It's housing, it's transit, it's food, it's all those things. So it isn't the tourists, they're coming because we have a great landscape and we have a great place to live. But I think in answer to your question, it's like, if you're spreading the culture and the mindset of this sustainable tourism, it's really sustainable living. And how do we make sure that we are doing all these things that Emily is talking about together in everything we do? I don't care what role we're in. If that's our mindset and our shared vision and goal, then wherever your role is in trying to make that sustainable living and tourism, then we're doing a good job, and we won't get overcrowded and love it to death, which is the worry. So,
yeah. Yes. And then when development ideas come up, then if they're looked at from that lens, then they will automatically be a good thing, as opposed to maybe something that's not necessarily needed in that one place or what have you. So yeah, I completely agree. I will say too, by the way, there's a new idea coming out and I'm hoping it works. It's not, it's one of those that we champion and don't run, but there's an idea of adding in an opt-in for visitors to give money as they're eating, like a portion, like a little tip, if you will, that will go to helping with food security and other things. But I'm really excited about that coming out in the next year. So that's exactly it. It's like looking for ways that tourism can help the local, community. That's what we're always doing, looking for that. Yeah.
I think expanding locally sourced foods must be close to the top of that. It's not just about tourism. It's part of that. It's like tourism is driving a strategy that we should be doing already, simply in terms of being food independent, or getting closer to that and getting away from that 98% figure.
Yeah. And the food trails away for the tourism to help with that.
Yeah.
goal. But yes, I agree. I mean, there's a great little sticker that they have for Gorge Ground, which is local food first. And that's really the best thing I've seen. It's because it is hard to get all you need locally, like again, when you're starting to grow the system. But if you can try to do a few more, if you can like reach for that, like even the grocery stores, sometimes they will have, the bigger grocery stores, they will have local. And so just trying to, pay a little bit more sometimes, because that's the other thing. It costs more in the short term because it doesn't have the mass. Yeah.
Well, Emily, before I say anything, is there any more questions from anyone on the screen? Any more comments? I have one request, because I will be eventually putting this together, and then we'll put a link up on our YouTube. I'm a little slow on that end. But if I could get a hold of the slide deck, then I could put it with that video, and so they'll have that. And then plus these guys would be able to have that too, because these guys I stay in touch with quite a bit. And then secondly, thank you so much for coming and sharing. I really appreciate all the efforts. We're hoping that this year, as we are in the process of trying to hire an assistant, that we will have a little bit more impact and can be some feet on the ground also. But I know that we appreciate Kristen. And then just for, as a tourism piece, the city is receiving a rare student also. And that poor person is going to be split into 3 categories. They will be working with planning, economic development, and destination development with the chamber. So they get to do a third, and they'll figure out what that third lies. But they will be starting around the 11th of September. So we will be specifically working on destination development, not the existing projects, but for the Dalles as the Dalles proper, and what that might look like, and what do we need or don't need, and how do we develop that so that we continue to put the Dalles out there. I like this new phrase that someone said. I think Emily said, the heart of the gorge. I need to retag all of my stuff. We're the heart of the gorge. And I think that truly nails us, both personality, both people, all of that. So I'm going to be using this for a new tagline. I love it. We're not the end of the gorge. We're the heart.
Nice.
So I love it. Thank you for that little tidbit of marketing this morning. That just kind of, there we go. With that, thanks, Emily. And if any of you have any questions, reach out. If you didn't catch her contact, I have it. I'll gladly share it. And then any of that. Oh, Phil Brady, it was a good meeting. So anyway, I will catch you up, Phil. So everyone have a great day. Take care and enjoy that sunshine. It will be warmer this coming few days. So just be cautious. And like I always said, let's take care of our elderly, make sure they're okay. Go visit them, take them some iced tea or sweet tea. And then just go visit and make sure they're okay. They're not as agile. We're working on it though, aren't we? Making it so that they're more accessible around our community. But everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. And I appreciate all of you, and you guys take care.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Bye, guys.